My fellow viewers, shinobi, and Anbu operatives, there is a silence so convincing, so carefully arranged that even seasoned observers lower their guard. In espionage environments, whoever controls information controls movement. Whoever controls movement controls outcomes. Ninjas do not win wars by striking first. They win by knowing when a strike has already become unavoidable. The real ninja war of any era has always been information suppression. Into Blue Vortex, battles no longer announce themselves with explosions or declarations of war. Explosions force us to look forward, but danger rarely comes from the direction we're watching. It arrives after posture relaxes, after attention shifts, after defenses are aligned to stop the wrong problem. Nowhere is that deception more dangerous than in this narrowing space between Koji's foresight and Inujin's untested resolve. Koji does not rush. He never has, because he does not fight moments. He observes outcomes. He allows inevitability to perform the violence before anyone realizes a choice was made. Not a frontline combatant, but a long-form intelligence asset, operating several moves ahead of the present. Inujin, meanwhile, stands at the edge of a moment he does not yet recognize, where instinct, loyalty, and hesitation intersect for the first time. This chapter frames Koji as a figure lifted straight from an espionage action thriller, because the true danger is not the enemy advancing towards you. It is the one who has already decided how this ends. We resume exactly where Chapter 29 left us, with the illusion of victory already unraveling. Chocho's strike lands with overwhelming force, the Mamushi clones are crushed, scattered, and then they rise, not injured, not slowed. They stand back up in grotesque, inhuman form. A quiet reminder that destruction is not the same as resolution. Himura's voice cuts through the chaos. Move aside! There is no panic in her tone, only command. Chakra surges as she begins charging a tail beast bomb, and instantly the danger changes shape. Chocho and Chikadai react at the same moment. Not inside the village, stupid! This isn't fear speaking, it's doctrine. Chikadai moves first. A shadow paralysis net snaps into place, pinning the Mamushi clones mid-motion. Chocho doesn't hesitate. She hurls them skyward, spinning bodies launch like debris from an unseen blast. Only then does Himura fire. The tail beast bomb tears through the sky like a supersonic cruise missile, a controlled release of catastrophic power. Impact follows. A violent rupture above the village. Fire blooms against the clouds. Wind crashes downward through the streets. The Shinju are gone, for now. Below, the citizens of the Leaf stare upward in stunned silence, not cheering, not fleeing, witnessing something they were never meant to see. We cut to Inujin. His voice tightens as the realization lands. No matter how many we take down, more pop up. They just keep multiplying. Power implied without progress, motion without resolution, then stillness. Kajin Koji sits unmoved, a silhouette untouched by urgency. An uncomfortable calm, the kind that belongs to a professional waiting in the dark, dagger in sheath only when the outcome is certain. His silence speaks louder than any jutsu. Koji has always operated on a different clock than everyone else. Where others react to moments, he observes outcomes forming. Shikamaru needs time, not to hesitate, but to translate chaos into strategy. Every option branches into consequence. Every second of thought costs ground. And even now, even here, Lord Kobu insists on the Akage's presence for the final round of interviews. The enemy is multiplying, the village is watching. Yet the system still demands decorum. Bureaucracy does not pause for existential threats. The nuisance isn't just the clones anymore. It's everything that refuses to stop moving while the world burns. We return to ground level. Chocho exhales, shoulders loosening for the first time since the blast. The village still stands with property damage. For a moment, this feels like victory. Himawari apologizes quickly and sincerely. Shikadai does not soften. Her teammates will not always be there. There will be no taking back reckless accuracy inside the village. The lesson lands harder than the blast itself. As he turns away, something catches his eye. Multiple Mamushis pour through the streets like marathon runners, not fleeing, not attacking, just moving. It is purposeful and endless. The tension redirects. Sai's voice cuts through the chaos, clinical, precise. A scalpel, not a shout. He delivers his warning directly to Lord Kobu. Shinju activity confirmed. The bureaucrat remains unmoved. Despite the clear and present danger, he insists that the investigation continues. Who freed Boruto? The response is immediate and infuriatingly unchanged. The village may burn, but bureaucracy must survive. We return to the streets. Mamushi clones flood Konoha in numbers that defy counting. Inogen tracks them. 100. More. Too many to follow individually now. Delta hovers above the village, like a hawk watching territory quietly being claimed. Her blonde hair drifts in the wind as she surveys below. From a balcony, Sarada calls out as she spotted the clones. Yep, tons of them. Sarda sights a cluster gathering at a street corner and prepares to engage. Then, Lord Shikamaru halts all units. He admits it plainly. He was overly optimistic. There is no panic and no worries. Knowing the ninja war veteran, he knows how to adapt. A change in tactics marks the next phase. He confirms what the intel already suggested. Mamushi's focus remains singular. Ida. No civilian casualties. Minimal property damage. A polite monster. Not out of mercy, but fear. Mamushi does not wish to feel Jura's wrath. Shikamaru draws breath, preparing to unveil the next phase of the incursion, and everything fractures. The sensory unit cuts in, urgent, overriding all channels. Immediate summons, interrogation room, orders from Lord Kobu. The timing could not be worse. The plan remains unspoken. The enemy keeps moving. His command is being pulled away at the exact moment it's needed the most. Shikamaru's voice comes through first, controlled and clipped. He explains that he's already engaged, that the village is under active threat, that this can wait. For a moment, there is silence. Then another voice enters the channel, measured, deliberate, cold. Lord Hokage, or rather, Nara Shikamaru. The correction is surgical. It carries the same tone a department head uses moments before removing a title from someone who no longer serves the organization's needs. Across the battlefield, Kajin Koji does not react. No surprise, no tension, only that same unsettling stillness, because this moment was already accounted for. The metaphorical dagger does not rush, it waits for certainty. Lord Kobu continues, his voice swelling with the weight of borrowed authority. Need I remind you, he says, that I stand here as proxy for the Land of Fire's daimyo? Another pause, just long enough to remind everyone listening who holds the paperwork. Now don't keep me waiting. Show yourself at once. Shikamaru responds with respect, but not submission. He states the obvious. The village is under attack. The reply ignores it completely. Procedure takes precedence. The daimyo's business does not pause for emergencies. The channel goes quiet. Shikamaru stares into the distance, eyes fixed on the invisible intersection of the Leaf's sensory network, where authority and survival are now colliding. Inogen notices it first. Dead air. The mind transmission channel has gone still. Koji finally speaks. That's the daimyo's chamberlain, he says evenly. He's attempting to interrogate Shikamaru. Elsewhere, Boruto's voice cuts in. Sector D cleared, moving to rendezvous with Team 10 in the east. Then he hears it too. Nothing. The silence stretches. Finally, Shikamaru responds, brief, composed, and issuing orders as if nothing is wrong, as if command still belongs to him. Boruto acknowledges, and in the same instant, the trap closes. A rope sling snaps tight around him. Leaf Shinobi emerge from cover, coordinated and efficient. Boruto hits the dirt hard, vision spinning, limbs bound, captured. Or so it appears. The scene freezes on that image, a hero restrained not by enemies, but by his own village. Anbu Technical Story Memo. Hitchcock Suspense inside Battle Shōnen. Boruto doesn't replace Battle Shōnen, it weaponizes espionage, where timing and information win wars before fists move. To understand why Chapter 30 feels tense without resolution, you have to see what Blue Vortex is doing now. This story has moved beyond escalation-based shonen. It has evolved into an espionage action thriller. In traditional Battle Shōnen, tension comes from power. Who hits harder? Who transforms next? Who lands the decisive blow? Espionage thrillers operate differently. Information replaces strength. Access replaces impact. The most dangerous moment is not the attack, it's the decision made before the attack becomes unavoidable. Alfred Hitchcock built his suspense philosophy on this. He famously said, "Show the audience the bomb, then let them watch the characters sit next to it." In Blue Vortex, the bombs are no longer jitsu. They are Koji's decision calculus, Shikamaru's strategic overextension, Inogen's under stress inside mind transmission, Himari's power revealed too early. The audience sees danger forming, the characters are still reacting. That gap, that awareness imbalance, is suspense. Koji represents foresight and inevitability. He doesn't rush, the outcome is already calculated. Inogen represents empathy under pressure. In espionage, empathy creates hesitation, and hesitation creates openings. This reframes everything. Himari's power reveal isn't victory, it's signal leakage. Shikadai's anger isn't drama, it's command doctrine. Boruto isn't triumphant, he's visible. In espionage stories, battles don't end arcs, they reposition them. Nothing is broken, but access has changed. Once access shifts, the story stops asking if something will happen and starts asking how long it has already been in motion. The true battle leading up to Blue Vortex has always been information suppression. Whoever controls information controls leverage and movement. Ninja, like spies, rely on information to execute their missions. Just as film borrowed from theater, literature, radio, and architecture, Hitchcock synthesized every art form. He storyboarded like an architect, paced like a radio dramatist, framed emotion like a novelist. If Hitchcock were alive today, he wouldn't struggle with Magna, he would excel at it. And it should not surprise us that modern Magna has already learned his language. Boruto lies on the ground, bound by a rope sling. Konoha police report he's in custody. A blade is touched, and the officer collapses. Chakra chain safety mechanism engaged. In a blink, Boruto moves like a thunder god. He escapes effortlessly, pauses just long enough to compliment the officer's skill, and warn him to flee if a divine tree appears. A subtle threat, a rare courtesy. He launches into the sky, his own version of Superman. Elsewhere, Shinju Mabushi clones match the crowd size of the streets. Purposeful, endless, watching. Shikamaru receives an update from Sarada and Delta. The Shinju have not engaged in random destruction. Surveillance continues. No engagement orders yet. The Hokage must answer Lord Kobu's summons. He'll be offline on the mind transmission formation. Inogen assumes command. Mamushi clones will approach the Hokage offices soon. Shikamaru hopes Kobu will reconsider. Doubtful. Koji instructs him to take his toad. The Hokage senses a plan, or at least something like that. Boruto hears this through the transmission channel. He looks grim. Koji has withheld intel before. What is he planning now? Kashin Koji verbally commands Inogen to release the mind transmission formation now. Naturally, this would stun Inogen, and is concerned there will be no communication on Shinju activity. Koji's voice cuts through the uncertainty. Calm, deliberate, immovable. Koji feels it cannot be helped and that they must get past this obstacle by using a different jutsu. Shikamaru enters the interrogation room and is met by Kobu's bureaucratic tone as if his time was wasted in the waiting room. The Hokage reminds him of the state of emergency and to get on with the interview so he may return to work. Kobu reminds the Hokage that what could transpire next will determine what his line of work will be. He implicates his suspicions that he has aided and abetted the criminal Boruto. Shikamaru naturally deflects. Kobu takes pride in his intuition and offers a chance to confess to his crimes in exchange for a lighter sentence. Suddenly, Inogen engages the mind transfer jutsu from a remote frog to another. Kobu's head slams on the table that ignites concern from Sai. Inogen, now in full control, and almost blows his own cover when he sees his father in the eyes. Shikamaru confirms for himself that's Inogen's mind transfer jutsu. The frog stealthily hops into Kobu's person. Koji gives instruction to get outside, and no escort is needed other than Koji's frog. From the hallways, and now the rooftop, Inogen has to ask the next play in this theatrical performance. Koji reveals, "We're killing Kobu." Back to Sai and Shikamaru. The Hokage must return to his incursion of the Shinju. Sai has to stop him for a moment and wonders why he's making Inogen do this. Shikamaru is surprised that he figured it out that quickly, but don't forget that Sai understands his son's jutsu that his wife uses too. Back to Kobu on the rooftop. Koji's frog makes suggestions that he can jump off the roof as if Mamushi attacked him and panicked. Any method as long as he's eliminated. Inogen feels this is a bad joke, but Koji states that Kobu is the enemy and a hindrance to this mission. There's no debate on ethics. This is the most rational choice. Nobody has to know since the group transmission is down, and this will be their secret. Mamushi steps in and asks about Ida. Koji remote fires his frog that grazes Mamushi's cheek. The Shinju is enraged and has multiplied in numbers. Koji seems relieved. There. How's that? To be continued. What makes moments like this dangerous isn't what they reveal. It's what they quietly take away. After Chapter 30, the battlefield still exists. The village still stands. The pieces remain exactly where you last saw them. Nothing appears broken, and yet something irreversible has occurred. Distance has collapsed, intent has sharpened. What once demanded force now requires only patience. The threat no longer needs to announce itself, because it has already been invited inside. Chapter 30 does not end with destruction, it ends with access. And once access is achieved, the next chapter does not ask if something will happen, it asks how long it has already been happening before anyone realized the danger was never gone.